Okay. Well, they closed the doors, so I'm assuming that means that we get to start. So, awesome. Thank you all for joining us. I'm really excited by this panel. It's going to be an amazing time of stories and how did we get here and what have I done with my life and things like that. So I'm Michelle Daly and I'm the program director for the writing program at Toronto Film School. And we have graduates from Toronto Film School here who are currently working in the industry, who are making splashes. Some of them you may know from the screen. Some of them you may have seen their names on the shows that you love. So instead of me introducing them, I'm going to let them use their own words to introduce themselves. And I'll start over here because I saw your eyes go up. I'm going to start over here. And Nathan, you're new to this panel, and you did not go to TFS.
For a little bit.
You did for a bit. Okay. All right. So you want to just give us a quick little who you are and why you're here?
My name's Nathan Taylor. I did go to Toronto Film School. I wasn't in the whole program. Money becomes an issue with the family at times, but I did enjoy the program while I was there. And I'm an actor. Biggest film so far is called Morningside, if anyone knows it. It's about the area in Scarborough. I played the villain in that movie. His name was Bando. It was great.
Awesome.
Oh,
yeah, we'll just come down this way.
Hi, my name's Subo. I am a visual effects editor. I've worked on basically every 3D movie you've probably seen in like the last decade. I've been a VFX editor for the last like 10 years or so. Yeah, if you've seen any Marvel movie and had to pay extra to wear glasses, sorry.
Yo, that's freaking sick, dude.
Right?
Whoa, that's dope. My name is Orville. I'm also an alumni from TFS. I went there for the acting for TV and film and the theater. It's a long title, so did I get that right, Eugenia? Did I say it right? Almost. Oh, I should have just read off. I'm currently working as an actor. I'm not going to get too into it because we do have a lot of questions. I don't want to answer the questions too early, but yes, I'm an actor.
Excellent.
Hi, my name's Caleigh Bacchus. I am a screenwriter. I went to TFS for the Writing for Film and TV program.
We like long titles, yeah. Yeah, you're good.
And I've been working in the Canadian film industry ever since. I've worked on Diggstown, Murdoch Mysteries, St. Pierre, and Overlord in the Underwoods. Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. Wonderful. All right, so the first question is, what was your first big job after TFS?
Oh, you want me to go? Okay, I'll go.
You made a noise.
My
So
first big job. That's
That's
such an interesting question because what I think is a big job for me versus how other people might view it is a little bit different. So I'll give you both answers. My first big job for me personally was this short film I worked on called Patty versus Patty. I grew up in Jamaica, so patty is like a big thing. If you guys don't know what it is, it's a little like, snack. Yeah, okay, good. Everyone knows what it is. You're all cultured. All right, great. Yeah, so, okay, great. I wasn't sure, you know what I'm saying? So I did a film about the man who made patty the mainstream thing it is today, and I got the honor of playing him, Michael Davidson, in the film, and it was one of the biggest honor I've ever gotten in my career so far, to play someone that I got to like tell a story about my culture that I didn't even know. They were trying to ban the patty in Toronto because a patty is a burger, not the Jamaican pastry. So it tells that story about how we fought for it. And during that time we're fighting for it, politics got involved, politicians got involved and everything, and it just made the patty just blew up. And it is what it is today because of that story. So I was very honored to be a part of it. But a lot of people might be like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And if you want to know the biggest thing I've worked on is Star Trek Discovery. That was one of the biggest honors I've gotten, biggest shows, thank you, that I've worked on, and it's been a blessing in my life.
Awesome. Sure. My biggest job when I graduated from TFS was Diggstown Season 2. And that's a show about a black female lawyer from Nova Scotia. And my job was being the showrunner's assistant. And it was for a showrunner named Floyd Kane, who is a very generous and really great showrunner. And he allowed me to not only be a part of the writer's room, but I flew to Nova Scotia, lived in Halifax for a summer during shooting, and then I stayed on for about a month during post. And that experience, just being an assistant and getting to see every phase of how a show is made, was so valuable going forward into the industry, because every show doesn't do that. Every showrunner doesn't do that. Like, you can be the showrunner's assistant just for the writer's room, and then like you're done, or through shooting and you're just really like getting coffee. But he allowed me to sit to every meeting, to really kind of shadow him. I was really being his shadow, and that experience was really invaluable for me, kind of like learning the writer's room, how those dynamics go, being confident enough to kind of speak up and give ideas, because on my first day, he was like, feel free to give ideas. As I said, every showrunner doesn't do that. When you're assistant, sometimes they just want you to shush and take notes. So that was really invaluable for me, and I took that experience into every other job that I went to. And even like 3 jobs down the line, I could say I do have post experience. I've sat in on sound drops and cuts. So a sound drop is kind of when you are watching a cut but listening to the sound to see like if anything sounds out of whack, and where you want music and where you want transitions and stuff like that. And starting in the industry, that is an experience that everybody gets. So that was like a really great job for me to be my kind of first big job after graduating.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Subo.
So when I started working in the industry specifically, the studio I was working for kind of had its hands in a bunch of different movies, but I'd say the first like major project that I was involved in was Spider-Man: Homecoming. That's the one that I was one of the lead stereo editors. yeah, that was the first movie I had my name actually in the credits for. So like that's what I would consider like the big one. Every other movie I dabbled in, but I wasn't really like a important person, I would say. But Spider-Man was the first one.
And what did it feel like to see, for anybody at this question, what was it like the first time you saw your name in the credits? Like
Extremely surreal.
Come on.
Very surreal, yeah.
Yeah. Did it feel like, I've done it now, this is real?
Yeah. There was a moment of just like profound euphoria, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's like right there. I'm sitting at a theater and looking at my name on a screen." Yeah, there's like a million other names, but it's just it's cool seeing yours.
But you only see the one. You only see the one. Yeah, the same.
Yeah.
Same for you guys.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I think it's really cool just to see that big screen. At least like for me and Orville, we were in 2 movies together now that have gone to theaters, and we went. The first one really to me was Bite of a Mango, which is on Amazon Prime right now, and that was a film that we made during the pandemic in a very short amount of time, and then we went to Miami to actually premiere it, world premiere at this American Black Film Festival, and it was crazy that was something that a lot of us friends came together just to make, because we are artists and we want to create. And now we're in a whole other country, watching it on the big screen in a theater that we got set up, and you see your names all come up, and there's other people that you've met throughout the festival watching and enjoying the film, and that experience for the first time is surreal. It is surreal, yeah. I think it's surreal every time, though.
Every time. I was going to say, it's not, the first time is special, but every other time it's like
It's
pretty
still
amazing.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's my name.
Yeah.
Everyone looked at my name just now.
My name has only ever been on the small screen, but still the same euphoria.
It's still.
I pause it every time. I take a picture, and I have just like a collection of.
That's amazing. I love that. That's we should mark those kind of moments, right? So, so what made you decide that you wanted to do this? Right? Whether it's be a writer, be an actor, be in special effects. What was it? What was the one thing that, like, was it a particular moment you saw a film and you were like, I want to know how they made that. How did they make that spaceship fly? Or was something just so beautifully told that you were like, I need to, this is my calling, or like, I have something to say through my art of performance. What was it that made you say, I want to do that?
Money.
Money.
That's the honest answer
hilarious.
for me. To start, I was in grade 6 and my cousin was in a movie and I heard that he made like $40K for this role that he was in. I'm like, I want that.
I want that.
I know I'm 12. I want that. And that's how I started.
I love that. Nathan is super honest. I love this guy. He's like my best friend. I think for me, it was a bunch of gradual things compiled together, then suddenly clicked that this is what I want to do in my life. As a kid, I always had a very overactive imagination. Growing up as an only child in Jamaica with a single mother, I was always like trying to find ways to like, you know, entertain myself. And I would always create these narratives in my mind and these characters, and I would act out every single role. And for a kid, you know, you're like, that's pretty normal, Orville. At 5 years old, I did the same thing. I'm like, did you do it until you were 13? Because that's crazy. So when I came to Canada now, my brain got expanding, meeting a lot of different people in drama class. And then Nathan was one of the first people I've ever heard to say, I want to be an actor. And I'm like, you can just say that? He's like, yeah. I'm like, and you could just do it? No one just comes and finds you and just tells you that this is what you're gonna do. We don't get selected to do what we do. You get to choose. My brain exploded. And so I really looked inside of myself and said, what do I want to do? I've had so many different ideas. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a psychiatrist. I want to be all these different things. But I'm just like, what I really love to do is perform. I love to perform. I love to entertain. I love to make people laugh because it makes everyone feel good and they forget about their problems. And I'm just like, I'm still a therapist if I do that. That's crazy. I'm still this if I do that. I'm just like, why choose one thing when I could do this art form that allows me to do everything and experience everything? And it grew from there and it just festered and I just never looked back. And then I'm just like, where do I start though after high school? And through my research, Toronto Film School, these guys are so good at reaching out because I went on their website once and then someone called me the next day. I'm like, how the heck did you get my number, Chris? And he's just like, we saw that you were looking at our website. I'm like, how the hell do you know that? I need to change my VPN, my IP, everything. Like, this is crazy. That's why. So I'm just like, that's crazy. But with that, I knew I wanted to tell stories, but I didn't know to what capacity. I said I want to be either a director or an actor. And when I went to the registration office, it was like the Matrix. He gave me 2 folders. He's like, do you want to be a director or do you want to be an actor? Choose one. And my dad was looking at me. He's like, choice is yours. And I'm like, I have to go with acting. That's where I feel the most free. As a director, I can curate these stories, but every time I do that, I always end up going in front of the camera and saying, no, this is how you do it. So I'm just like, this is what I should do in my life. And that's what I've been doing for the past, I don't know, decade or so.
Amazing. That's great. I love that. It's like, you can just do this?
You can
just do this? That's nuts. Caleigh.
Yeah, so I've always been a creative. Like, I've always loved creative stuff. My mom used to tell me that when I would watch cartoons, I would just be like, I can do that. And when I was little and I would read books, like book series, like in between the books coming out, I would kind of like make up what the next book would be, and I would draw the characters. Like specifically, when I would read Harry Potter by She Who Shall Not Be Named, I would, waiting for the next books, I would create this whole fantastical storyline of what was going to happen, and of course be completely wrong. But then, like, growing up and getting into the real world and going to university, like, they didn't really have, I wasn't sure if TV was like a real job, also because I went to school in Iowa. So my advisor told me that journalism would be a good thing because I've always been a strong writer. So I ended up in mass communications and journalism. And then I went into a job in marketing because I thought, like, oh, I can make ads, like that's creative, but it's not really. And then when I moved to Toronto, I would literally see film crews everywhere, and I'm like, wait, TV is a real job. And so I started to Google, and Toronto Film School came up, and I ended up going to Toronto Film School, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Awesome.
To speak, I guess, really honestly, when I was a kid, I was really bad at communicating or being like a socially cool person. Just a really awkward kid all around. And I wasn't particularly smart either, I would say. And I remember there was one day in high school when they wheeled a television in. This is about 20 years ago. Christ. This is about 20 years ago. And they played a commercial for our school's Comtech class. And I thought it was just amazing that those students that were in the school just spending their time, instead of learning math and English, that were like putting these like videos together. And the whole video was just like an ad for joining that class, because I guess there weren't enough numbers. But I joined, and it was like a transformative experience for me. For the first time, it felt like I was able to like communicate. I felt like I found a clique where I kind of belonged, and that just kind of became a thing. Like, I'd make videos then with my friends in high school, and they kind of spread around the high school. And this is before YouTube, right? So it was just like email attachments, basically. I mean, yeah, before I knew it, I kind of got shoehorned into this idea of being like a video guy. And I was always the one that was editing it. I started with Windows Movie Maker on my parents' crappy like Windows 98 machine. Yeah, so like we're talking bare bones. It's like we started. Like I started from the very, very beginning there, and yeah, I just kind of kept at it. And in my mind's eye, I thought, well, this is always something I want to do and pursue, against all, not against like basically my parents saying get an actual job, right? You know, they had hopes of me being a doctor or something. That's not going to happen. But yeah, so I kind of kept at it. And yeah, after high school, I just kind of kept pursuing, and I didn't really know where to go from there. Like, how do you go from high school to now making movies and making money from that? And so one of my first picks was actually Ryerson, like the theoretical end of it, because I thought maybe that's how you get into it. But yeah, I like you, I like just kind of did an inquiry email to TFS, and I got a phone call. And the person I spoke to, we spoke a number of times, but he was very helpful, because I remember telling him, so after I'm done this program, what do I do then? Like, where do I then go to Ryerson? And he said, look, after this program, you're done school for film. Like, that's it. If you don't get what you want out of this program, that's it. Like, there's nowhere else to go educationally. So I was like, all right, sold. And so that's how I ended up going to TFS, and yeah, it worked out for me anyway.
Nice. And it is that thing though, because I think maybe all of us who kind of enter the creative sphere are a little bit outliers, right? We're a little bit, we're not maybe a little bit. Yeah, I was gonna say, but this is where, like, when you finally find your people, your community, your weirdos, right? Like, but you find them, and there's just something about, like, I'm in such the right place now, right? Yeah, that's great. I love that. It's like you weren't not smart. You were just a different kind of smart, right?
Yes.
So what does a typical day at work look like, right? We're all kind of curious. Like, I'm curious what a typical day at work looks like for an actor, for someone in VFX. So what is that like? Do you get up early?
It doesn't stop.
Breakfast.
It doesn't stop, actually, because as an actor, you're constantly working all your life, even on and off set. You're constantly doing auditions. So work is memorizing, talking to your team, making sure your headshots are up to date, doing all these things to put you in a position to land that next job. And then when you get on set, I say audition is the work and on set is the vacation, because there's so many things there to set up to help you succeed and do your best performance. In the self-tape, that's all you. You have no guidance, especially now when it's like all at home. There's no casting director saying, you know what, I don't think the character's like that. Maybe try it this way. There's no one there to tell you that. So it's just all on you. But when you get on set, it's just a complete blast. A typical day on set, if no one's ever been on set, you get there, you can go to the craft truck, have your breakfast, you go in the makeup chair, in the barber chair. It's my favorite part of set, by the way, is getting pampered. I love it. And then and then you would go and do your morning rehearsals. Everyone's still in their pajamas, everyone's dancing, having a great time. Because it's very important to keep the mood light on set, because after that first hour on set, you're in for a ride. That's 12 to 14 hours you're gonna be there. And it's a lot of waiting to go. It's a lot of sitting in your trailer thinking, oh, I get to relax. It's like, when do we start? And when you start, it's like, holy shit, when do I go back to my trailer? This is crazy. It never stopped. I remember the first day on set on Star Trek, they're just like, hey, welcome, Orville. Hey, this is the set. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. Okay, so Orville, this is what's gonna happen. So they're gonna be shooting at the ship and there's gonna be explosions going on next to you. Hey, you don't CGI that? No. Do you want earplugs? No, I think I'll be fine. You sure? You don't want the earplugs? I'm like, no, I'll be fine. when that first explosion went off, I'm like, where is the prop department? This ear almost blew off. It's freaking crazy. And that's also what I love about my job. I get to have so much excitement, but in a safe environment. Because if shit happens to me, I'd be rich because I'm suing. But they made sure you're always safe, and it's so fun, and it's so great. It's all the things you imagine as a kid, being in a spaceship or whatever you imagine, being a spy or whatever. It's everything you imagine turned up to 10 without, actually jumping off a bridge as James Bond, but you have like suspenders holding you up. But it's really fun, and it's very fulfilling, I would say, just every day being an actor.
Awesome. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah.
Stressful, but it's sick.
My day is the complete opposite of that. You've got like explosions going off next to you. I'm in my underwear. I'm like in front of my computer. That's my day. No, not actually. But my job, it's actually, the end result's really cool, but the day-to-day is very, very boring. But it's, basically in front of a computer pretty much the entire day. Back when it was in office, it was not only in front of a computer, it was in a secluded, soundproof room detached from the rest of the studio because no one was allowed to even hear what was happening in these rooms. So you'd go a little crazy in there because you'd just be in a soundproof room for an entire day. And then when you'd like leave to get water or food or whatever, you felt like a mole person just kind of coming out and squinting. But no, it was but it's the kind of work I really enjoy. The days are very structured. That's kind of how it is in the VFX industry. It's all just kind of a turning cog, right? Things come in, things go out, and there's very, very specific expectations and kind of projections on how and when things get done. So there's something nice about that, but at the same time, there's also like, I kind of miss like the idea of like a dynamic, like nothing's going to explode around me, right? And
you just make it look like it.
I guess. So I guess that's like that's the crux of it. I mean, I guess like the day is like very predictable for me anyway. There's nothing too crazy or chaotic about it.
So you mentioned you're in a soundproof room because nobody can hear you. Is that because like the types of movies and shows that you work on are so protective of what's happening?
It's Disney specifically So like when I first signed on to this company, I had like a mountain of NDAs I had to sign. And one of the worst things about the job, and this is such a funny first world problem, but every movie's spoiled for you. And you can't talk about it either. Like, Oh, it's a very weird hell to live in. When they when the entire world was like, is Tobey Maguire in the Spider-Man movie? And you've known for like a year that he's in it, and like he's just on your screen, and you're like, yes, he is, but I can't say it or talk to anyone about it. It's a funny little personal hell to describe. It's hard to like enjoy movies when you know exactly how everything's going to go down. So, I mean, it's a very first world problem to have, I think, as far as
we appreciate your sacrifice.
We appreciate it, 100%.
Yeah, thank you, Caleigh. That must be yours. Must be somewhere in between everybody's here.
So this is going to be like a multifaceted answer because like my days are different depending on what I'm doing. Because I can be a screenwriter in the writer's room. I could be on set. I could be in post, or I could be in between and mildly unemployed. So, so when I have a gig and I'm in a writer's room, a typical day is like you show up around 10. Everybody like has their coffee because writers can't survive without their coffee. And you kind of chit chat for 5 to 10 minutes, and then the showrunner will kind of guide you into the work. And the work can be anywhere from figuring out like what a character is, what their personality is, like everything about a character. It could be figuring out what the season arc is, like where you want your characters to begin and end in the season. What are the big main things that are going to happen in the season? Or you could be breaking an episode. So that's specifically episode like 1 or 2 or 3. And you're specifically figuring out everything that's going to happen in this episode, and they're called beats, like the beats of an episode. Like in this episode, the detective is going to find like a dead body at Fan Expo, and they have to figure out who killed him. And so like you kind of go through the twists and turns, like you find a piece of a costume on the dead body, and then you see somebody's missing piece of their costume. Oh, they must be involved. Let's interview them. So that's kind of how you break an episode. And as a screenwriter, if you have a script in a writer's room, so say I have episode 4, when we break that episode, I'm given all of those beats, and then I have to take it and I have to write it. So the beats could be like you get 20 beats, and then you have to break that out into a scene by scene breakdown, which is an outline. And then once the outline is approved, and all of these phases are sent to the network for approval, the showrunner has to approve it, everybody has to approve it, production company has to approve it. Then when you get an approved outline, then you write the script. And from outline to script, that just means that you're putting in kind of basically dialogue, and you're adjusting the action lines to kind of tell you exactly what's happening on screen. So it's a lot of talking, a lot of joking, a lot of, we're making a TV show. We're kind of like letting our imagination fly. And then going from the writer's room into production, that's kind of where real life hits you, because especially in Canada, the budgets aren't as big as they are like in America on Star Wars, where it's like, or Star Trek, where like you have all the money in the world to do everything that you want to do. In Canada, it's very constrained. So you might have this big like action sequence with explosions and cars and like 5,000 extras. They're like, we can afford 10 extras, one fire, and maybe like a VW coupe or whatever. And so then you have to, I'm giving extreme examples, but you have to kind of adjust your writing going into production. And the writer's room could have ended, and then you're still getting kind of notes from the network to make these adjustments. And if you're a writer that's going on to set, and a lot of the times that's either being like a showrunner's assistant, or you could be a script coordinator that's on set. And a script coordinator is somebody who kind of takes care of all the scripts. Like when you get the script back from the writer who's made the changes, then you have to go through, make sure there's no spelling mistakes, make sure that it's set up for production, which is a whole other conversation that I won't get into. Or you could be a senior writer, which is an EP or a co-EP, which is an executive producer, co-executive producer, executive producer. And basically you're a person who's with the production all the way through, kind of like figuring out like, does this location work for what we want it to do? And of course, like there's somebody whose job that is, the location person who brings you like the locations, and then you're like, I like it. You're just one of like many voices. The showrunner will have an opinion, the EP will have an opinion, the producers, the directors, everybody kind of throws their opinion. You're one of the people throwing your opinions into the hat. And so through production, kind of a typical day on set for production, I'm glad that actors feel pampered when they show up to set, but as like a co-EP, you show up and there's fires already, and like people are starting to put out fires, and everybody's coming to you with problems. Metaphorical fires. Like I showed up to set one day on one show, and the number 3 actor, it was a Friday, he got on a plane to England, and they came to me, they're like, can you write him out of all the scenes he's in today, and then write him out of all the scenes that these scenes affect, keeping in mind the scenes that he already shot, that he's already in? And I'm like, I haven't even had coffee yet. So I had to go into a corner, and they're like, we need this in 15 minutes. So I had to go into a corner, and so it's like right away, while everybody's getting their makeup done, I'm in a corner like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. And the showrunner wasn't even on set that day, and I was like, this is a disaster. He's like, you'll figure it out. And I mean, I did. So you show up to set for production, and like anything can happen. Like, actor may not be there, we might have to rewrite a scene. We, like, one time, so, and another thing that's kind of constrained with Canadian productions is because we don't have a lot of money, you don't get a lot of overtime. So, in a day, they have scheduled the shots that they need to get. And shots take very long to get. And so if you're nearing the end of the day and you still have like 2-3 shots to get, either you go into overtime, which means that you have to pay your cast and crew more money on top of what they're already getting, or you take out the scenes and you rewrite the script. And a lot of times, like if it's an important scene, you can't just take out the scene and rewrite the script. But also you don't have enough money for a lot of overtime. So I remember one time I was on set and we had 1 minute left to get our last shot. 60 seconds, and this was a micro budget TV show that we didn't have any money for overtime. And so and when everybody's stressed, there's silence on set. So everybody's silent, the cameraman is wearing his
Easy rig.
So that's like a vest with an arm on it, and the camera is attached by a cable. So it's like it's ready to go. The cable breaks. And you guys know those cameras are heavy. The cameraman catches it, hefts it onto his shoulder, action. Everybody runs through their lines. I don't know, we got it done. It's 7:00, that's a wrap. That's the kind of stuff that could happen on set. And so it's really unpredictable, but it's so much fun. And then as a writer, just figuring out ways to make things work when things do go wrong. If they're we can't have this location anymore, we have a field, make the scene work. Sure. So you have to kind of be ready for everything. And then when you're in post, it's kind of it depends on where you are. If you're on another gig or if you're at home at that point, it's mainly you receiving a lot of emails, receiving the cuts. You have to watch them. You have to give notes on them. Just know that your voice matters and that you're hired for a reason and that people want to know what your opinion is on things. And if something doesn't feel right, don't be afraid to kind of speak up in that moment, especially if it's your first time kind of doing something in post. So it's a lot of emails, a lot of cuts. The show does get spoiled, but that's okay. And then in between jobs, it's important, as you were saying, to kind of think of how you're going to get to the next job. So when your gig ends, that's the time to go back to writing your own stuff. So your own scripts, your own spec scripts, your own samples, because that's the stuff that's going to get you the next job. And not only writing, making sure that you're continuing to write and continuing to expand your portfolio, but keeping in touch with everybody that you've met or know in the industry. So showrunners you've met with before, producers that you know, just going out for coffee and chit-chatting. That just keeps you front of mind. It's not you going to be you have any jobs for me? You're just genuinely building connections with the people that you like in the industry. And then that comes back around, if they have something, they're you know what, I want to hire Caleigh again. Then when they reach out to you, oh, do you have a 1 hour sample that I can read to get you this job? Then all the stuff that you've been working on in between, you could, yes I do, send it, got the job. So it's really in phases, but it's all a lot of fun.
Excellent. Well done. All right, we have about 10 minutes left. So
sorry.
No, that's okay. That was interesting. So I'm gonna say, can you share one behind the scenes kind of story, rather quickly, that you think people here would be really interested in hearing? Right? So that maybe we know that you can't talk about anything you're working on right now, so we won't push that way.
You ain't saying none.
No.
But is there, we want some of the gossip right now. We want a little bit of tea being spilled.
This
in a protective of you kind of way,
isn't
but
really
it's also interesting.
a tea, but it was something that I think people would enjoy because one of my first days on set, working on Star Trek, I was so fascinated by how well the prosthetics was on everyone's face. Particularly this one actor, I'm talking to him for so long. I have no idea who this guy is. I don't know what his face looks like. Talking to him, he's so lovely, blah, 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 blah. He's number 2 on the show, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's your name? And he says his name is Doug Jones. I'm like, that's a dope name. That's cool, man. I'm like, so Doug, what have you been in and whatever? And then he goes through the list. And all of a sudden, I'm lost. If you guys don't know who Doug Jones is, he was in Pan's Labyrinth. He was in Hellboy. He was in Hocus Pocus. He was the Shape of Water. Like, this man is crazy. His resume is insane, and I didn't know I was talking to a legend. And I'm so honored from that experience talking to him without knowing who he was, so we could get that genuine connection of just two human beings talking. And now this guy's my friend, and I can hit him up anytime. And I'm like, yo, the Silver Server is texting me right now. That's freaking sick, bro. That's freaking sick. So it's as Caleigh was saying, that it's important to, when you approach these people in the film industry, to be genuine about your approach. They're another human being. Aside from what they do and what their resume looks like, just approach. You never know I didn't know I was talking to the guy who worked on all the Spider-Man film, but like, Sabu's a dope guy, really cool. Don't know who he is, so it's important to just approach everything with an open mind and be genuine who you're talking to, because you never know who you're talking to. Yeah.
And he's super tall, right?
Oh, he's massive. I'm like, yo, he's already like 6'5", and then they put him in these like heels, and I'm just like, what are you doing up there? He's like, this is how tall Kelpians are. I'm like, no, that's how tall they are. What are you doing up there? It's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how you guys picture movies being, like, reaching the finish line, but one of the cool behind-the-scenes things I guess I could talk about here is just how insanely close to the finish line it gets. Like, I think one of the craziest is a movie had to go global, like, to hit every theater globally on a Friday, and it was Wednesday night when we, like, sent it out. And I remember, and these are monstrous, like, video files. They're huge, right? And I remember thinking, there's no way they're gonna have to push back but no, apparently it was enough time to hit every single theater on the planet, which is crazy to me. But yeah, that's just one of the cooler behind the scenes.
And does that happen often, that you're up to the wire of getting the film?
Not always. Usually it's pretty smooth, but it depends on, like, the director of the film. Like, sometimes they're, I don't want to name names here, but some directors are particular about the way their film looks, and when you're talking about, like, a stereoscopic conversion, so 3D conversion, it's no longer their vision specifically, and so there's a lot of there's compromises that have to be made on both parts. And yeah, so that can push things back considerably further. I mean, I'm sure you guys all know of the Sonic the Hedgehog thing a while back, right? Oh, man. Yeah, like, they had to redo the entire movie because the internet hated the way they massacred our boy. Yeah, so it's a situation like that. But in this case, trailers have already been out. And there's already, like, really, like, in theaters, July 15th or whatever, and it's July 13th, and you're like, this has to get done, right? So yeah, it can get really, really close to the wire and extremely stressful. A lot of late nights leading up to those days, but.
Oh wow! I did not realize. I knew that happened in South Park, but I didn't know that happened with big ticket movies.
Well, that's just two dudes and a team of animators, like,
Yeah.
moving shapes around, right?
Exactly.
This is a little more, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
Short story I have. The movie I was working on, Morningside, before filming it, the directors and producer are also my friends, and they had me read the script with them one time. Usually you do a table read, so you get a few other actors to read a bunch of the parts and the descriptions and all of that. They just had me read the entire script for every character and every description possible. And I did that probably 30 to 50 times before we filmed. And so they would make edits with me. They would understand voices with me. So I'm reading the little girl and the Jamaican man and, like, the hood guy and all of that. Like, I'm changing characters and ideas on the spot because they're hearing, like, how this might read, and I'm just trying to think of, oh, maybe this is how this person would sound, and they're coming up with that. But it's crazy to read a whole script, like, just by yourself, and they just want to hear how it sounds. But that was a cool story, at least.
For sure.
I would say I've never been a part of like a big like American show where it's like they're like crazy fans, but Murdoch Mysteries has like a very loyal fan base
And who are probably here today.
yeah, amazing and loyal fan base. And I guess I didn't realize how big it was until this like specifically started to reach out and touch me. Like they DM you, you know, sometimes they reach out on LinkedIn. Sometimes they show up to the studio looking to see behind the scenes. And the biggest thing I ever saw was like I saw a screenshot of my LinkedIn page on Reddit, and they're like, "Oh, she's writing the next episode. We're excited about it." And I'm like, "How did you find me?"
That's crazy.
So that's always interesting to see. It's all in good fun, and I love the fans, but it's always like really interesting how people will find you, you know, when they're really passionate about a show.
And does that add extra pressure, knowing those kinds of fans? And
Yeah, I feel like pressure in a way that I shouldn't do this to myself, but after all of my episodes, I kind of go on Twitter, I go and I look at the reviews on IMDb, and then of course, like, the good ones, you're like, yeah, but the bad ones, you're like, oh, they hated it, and then it's kind of like you go into this spiral of, why am I doing this? I'm a terrible writer. I never should have got into this job. I'm a fraud. But,
oh my gosh.
you know, it's all kind of par for the course and kind of like learning from it and also learning to not dismiss the good stuff that people say and really take that in, because that's what we do it for.
Yeah, it's easy to complain about things,
Yeah,
isn't it? And it's more meaningful when somebody actually reaches out and says something.
Yeah, my first episode on Murdoch Mysteries that I ever wrote, it was during COVID, right after the George Floyd Black Lives Matter movement, and it was a police shooting episode. And needless to say, when the trailer for that episode came out, there was a lot of vitriol, especially on the Facebook page, and comments of people before they even watched the episode, just like saying really heinous stuff. And Peter Mitchell, our fearless leader, jumped into that comment section. He was fighting with all the trolls, which I really appreciated. He's like, you haven't even watched it, like, she's a great writer, and, you know, like, stuff like that really is what we do the job for, and stuff like that is what I really value in some of the people that I've met in this industry who will really go to bat for you and really, like, back you up, you know? So those are the good experiences that I choose to remember instead of the hate.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good like life lesson, right? Try to remember all the positive, like for everybody, right? So anytime a big movie that you worked and sweated and lost sleep over because it was down to the wire, right? Or anytime you go on a set and you put your heart and soul into a new character, right? And characters that you create. So it's how do you know, it's good to remember that you're doing it for the good reasons, right? For fans who enjoy all this work that you do. I'm just looking, I have 2 different times, so I'm just like freaking out right now. Because that one says 11:44. Is it 44?
It's 41.
Oh, there is 5 minutes left. Okay, so that is a little, okay, this is 5 minutes. All right. I just wondered if did anybody have a quick question? Yeah, we're gonna go there and then here. Yeah.
How do you, like you mentioned that there's a time crunches a lot. How do you deal with the pressure of those time crunches and maybe not doing your best work that you can because of that pressure? Anyone's.
I do what I can in the moment, and when the time is up, like that's as good as it's gonna get. Like I just go balls to the wall, like I'm gonna do this as much as I can, revise it as much as I can, like this is in a decent or good place, and like that's what I can do, and you send it off. Like you can't get caught up in the, oh, I wish I could have like a few more passes because there's no time. Like you do what you can in the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
You just gotta lock in and let go.
Yeah.
Just trust that your work, that everything you've been training for or working for is just there in your body, and you can just let go and just perform at your best and trust that it is your best.
Yeah, lock down and let go. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Sir?
Yeah, if you've got a good team, and if you have a good team, everyone's kind of on the same page as well. Like it's not, you won't be shouldering the burden. And as much as it sucks to be in a situation like this, it's a shared burden, and so it's easier knowing that you've got people that you like that are also going through it with you.
Facts.
Yeah, for sure.
For that first industry connection that you ever made, what percentage of that was just either sheer grind, the Toronto Film School facilitating that first industry connection, or just serendipity?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't think I understood the question.
The first industry connection you made,
Yeah.
right? So people tend to say it falls into 3 categories, right?
Yeah.
It's either, it was a connection that you made through your school, through Toronto Film School, or it's just chance, so it could be serendipity, right? Or is it just sheer grind, like you're just working so hard, you're just grinding it out, and eventually you end up getting there? Out of those 3 things, it could be a percentage of each, or it could just be one of those things. What would you say?
For me, it was actually like a 33% split, I would say. Yeah, because I did, before I was working in the industry, I was making like wedding videos for some really sketchy company. But at the same time, I was also like putting myself, working retail, and I was grinding that way. But I also had, contacts at Toronto Film School. And they were also, like when you graduate the school, everyone's looking for work now, right? And there is a kind of a collaborative environment where everyone's kind of helping each other find things, and so that's kind of how I stumbled into where I am now. And so yeah, it feels like it's an even split between, because you're doing, as nice as the idea is that someone's just gonna say, here's a job, you have to also kind of acknowledge that, well, I can't just sit here and do nothing. So you do whatever you can at the same time to find work. So you do the grind, and at the same time there is like a chance, and at the same time you also have people that are helping you trying to find work, and at the same vein you're helping them find work too. Whenever something comes across your radar, it's like, oh, I know a guy who, who's great at lighting, or who like passions about doing camera work, so he could like PA on your set or something like that. Yeah.
Is that the same for you guys too?
I would say it was 75% preparation, 25% my contacts at Toronto Film School. And I think this goes to the last question as well. The preparation is key, especially as a screenwriter in the industry. And so what I mean by that is, when I graduated Toronto Film School, which was a while ago, to graduate, I think you just needed like 3/4 of each of the scripts that we had to do for graduation, which was a comedy, a 1-hour drama, and a feature film. And you just needed to complete 3/4 of it. And I completed all of them a semester early, because you have this this network of teachers who work in the industry, and I wanted them to read my work in its completion and give me notes. And by doing that, some of them were like, oh, this is good, I'll send it to this person. This is good, I'll send it to that person. And so my network was expanding before I even graduated. And also in that last term at Toronto Film School, I don't know if it's still the same, but there's a class called, I can't remember what it's called. But one of the assignments was to reach out to somebody in the industry and then write
Career development,
and then write a paper about it. And I reached out to 5 different people, and it's so easy to find people's emails in this industry. It's actually comical. And so I reached out to a lot of people, told them, did the whole spiel, like, I'm a student, I want to find out about the industry. But then my network was expanding. And when I graduated Toronto Film School, one of those people that I reached out to in that class reached out to me to tell me that they had a development room, they wanted me to work in it. Do I have a sample? Yes, I do, because I got it done a term early, and I had all my teachers read it, so I got notes, and now it's even better. So I could send that script to them, and then I got the job. So I would say 75% preparation, be prepared, and then use the network that you have and the time that you have to expand your network.
All right. Sorry, we are out of time now. Thank you everybody. Thank you, panel. And thank you all for being here. Enjoy your rest of the day. And thanks. Yeah.